Billionaires are blowing their obscene wealth to cozy up to power, while other billionaires are meeting in private rooms about their fears of retribution from Donald Trump. Let's talk about the cowardice of the country's elite. My name is Brittany Page, and this is The Page Perspective. While you're here, I'd really appreciate it if you would take just a brief moment to click the subscribe button below this video to ensure that you do not ever miss a video from me. It's free, and it helps me in the battle against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much. Now, Donald Trump is getting most of his funding from billionaires, who he has also promised to reward with powerful positions in his administration. And this level of corruption doesn't seem to be registering for a lot of people. Just how much money exactly is Donald Trump getting from billionaires? Let's look at the reporting from the Financial Times. Quote, a Financial Times analysis of campaign finance filings found billionaires have donated at least $695 million, or about 18% of the total money raised during this election cycle. Trump is particularly dependent on U.S. elites, with about a third of the money raised by the campaign and allied groups coming from billionaires, compared to about 6% of the funds raised by Harris-aligned groups. They report that 34% of all of the money that he's received has come from billionaires, with the vast majority of those millions of dollars coming from just 4 people. Quote, pro-Trump groups have received at least $568 million from billionaires, or about a third, 34% of all the money his campaign has raised. About $432 million has come from just 4 donors. You'll know at least one of these people, but the 4 billionaires funding Trump's campaign are Liz and Dick Uihlein, Tim Mellon, Marian Adelson, and of course, the one that you surely know, as he's always jumping around on stage with Donald Trump, Elon Musk. What is Elon Musk getting in exchange for his millions of donated dollars? Well, Donald Trump announced that he would have Elon lead a government efficiency commission to audit the federal government. This would, of course, benefit Elon because he is deeply intertwined with the federal government, with many of his companies relying on the government to fund billions of dollars for his companies. And I'm going to show you these charts in the New York Times showing, one, his companies and the federal contracts they have with the government. Quote, 2 of Elon's companies account for at least $15.4 billion in government contracts over the past decade. And then there's this chart, which shows the various regulatory battles and federal investigations he's facing from the federal government, from the safety of Teslas to the environmental damage from his rockets. I will, of course, link to all of this in the description, but what a nightmare to have Elon Musk in a position where he can buy a powerful position in the next administration to take back control over the levers that operate currently to check his power. It's disgusting. And these billionaires, in all their self-interest and all their self-dealing, are also fundamentally cowards. Take this recent reporting from the Washington Post, and don't get me started on the billionaire-owned Washington Post refusing to endorse Kamala Harris, but this article about billionaires fearing Donald Trump and his promises to punish his political enemies. Think of it. The most powerful, the most protected in our society coming together in a Waldorf Astoria in Southern California to express concerns about what will happen to them under a Donald Trump presidency. Quote, the gathering of the Business Council, an invitation-only association of chief executives, at the Waldorf Astoria Monarch Beach in Dana Point was not supposed to be about the election, but for some attendees wound up discussing how to protect themselves and their companies if Trump wins the presidency next week and tries to use the power of the Oval Office against his perceived enemies, said the people speaking on the condition of anonymity to describe private conversations. I mean, where are we as a country when the most powerful people in the country are expressing these kinds of concerns in private, rather than taking billionaire Mark Cuban's lead and loudly proclaiming what a danger Donald Trump is, even if it's not for the good of the country, but about protecting themselves and their companies? To worry that the next president of the United States will go after his perceived enemies and punish them using the government because of personal animus. And you say this to your other billionaire buddies in private because you're so afraid. What about the people who actually have something to lose? The people living on the street, the women dying from abortion bans, the families fearing mass deportation at the hands of a racist government. Reading again from the Washington Post, quote, two Trump campaign advisors, who also spoke on the condition of anonymity to reflect private conversations, said numerous executives have been trying to reach out to former president's team late in the race. Quote, I've told CEOs to engage as fast as possible because the clock is ticking. If you're somebody who has endorsed Harris and we've never heard from you at any point until after the election, you've got an uphill battle, the Trump advisor said. Quote, people are back channeling, looking at their networks. They're talking to lobbyists to see what they can do to connect with the president and his team. Quote, public company CEOs want to have it both ways. They want to be viewed as the thought leaders of the country, but when it comes to this highly contentious election, they want to hide behind their titles, said Robert Wolf, a former chairman and CEO of UBS, who also served as an economic advisor to President Barack Obama. Quote, many are nervous that if Trump wins, he's going to respond or even retaliate. There have been so many moments during this election when I sit here and say, what can even be said at this point? And I feel like I'm at that point again because, I mean, you're hearing this, right? This is corruption. And in the light of hundreds of thousands of Washington Post subscribers canceling their subscriptions to punish billionaire owner Jeff Bezos, I had the thought that I don't think we can solve this issue through individual action. This problem of concentrated wealth and its damaging impact on our democracy, it's a systemic problem that needs to be addressed by our government, ensuring that billionaires like Jeff Bezos pay their fair share in taxes. And if you think they already do, please read ProPublica's reporting on billionaires avoiding taxes. Or just listen to this opening paragraph. Quote, in 2007, Jeff Bezos, then a multi-billionaire, and now the world's richest man, did not pay a penny in federal income taxes. He achieved that feat again in 2011. In 2018, Tesla founder Elon Musk, the second richest person in the world, also paid no federal income taxes. Unacceptable. Billionaires should not be able to cozy up to power to ensure protection for their assets. The government should not take action based on who has kissed Donald Trump's ass most delicately and sweetly. And the thing I struggle with the most here is the good that could be done with those many millions of dollars that they are donating to Donald Trump. I know we are sold on this mythology that all of us, if we just work hard enough, can become so disgustingly wealthy that we too can buy an election. But it's not true. And my solidarity will always be with the people who struggle because I know what that is. I know what it is to count change to put gas in my car. I've benefited from food stamps and Pell Grants. I know what it is to laugh when Southern California Edison wants $300 to turn back on your electricity after they turned it off for non-payment. Is that too specific? I always tell myself I don't hold grudges, and then I think of SoCal Edison, and here we are. But while I don't currently have those struggles, I never feel too far away from people who do. So yeah, I feel rage when I read about $568 million being given to Donald Trump to help elect him president on the promise that he will help billionaires funding his campaign and betray the poor and working class with the policies that he implements, while those same poor and working class attend his rallies and cheer him on. Cheer for Elon Musk walking out on the stage, who's only concerned with himself, only concerned with protecting himself. You've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. We need class solidarity in this country. And if you're watching this, you are much closer to financial precarity than you will ever be to becoming a billionaire. And if you're watching this and you're like, that's not true because you're Elon Musk, Elon, feel free, become a channel member so that you can help fund my videos where I highlight how dangerous you are for our society. Thanks in advance. What do you think? Leave me a voicemail, 657-464-7609, or send an email to idoubtit@dollemore.com. You can join Elon by supporting my work and clicking on the join button below. For as little as $1.99 a month, you can become a channel member, or go to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and take care. I will see you next time.